Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Air quality emergency. More than 20 states under alerts tonight, from Minnesota to right here in New York City to the Carolinas. Smoke from those Canadian wildfires also affecting flights.
We are starting to pick up some ash on our windshields. Has anyone else been reporting that?
Also breaking tonight, catastrophic flooding in Texas. At least 2 dead, nearly 100 rescued, and more than 2 feet of rain in some areas. The warnings from officials tonight and when it will end. The new information tonight, what we're learning that could be causing that awful parasitic illness that has made thousands sick. A major clue uncovered more than a year after a sightseeing helicopter broke apart midair, killing a family of 5. What investigators now believe brought it down. Developing this hour, the president's new allegations of election meddling.
You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness.
What the president claims and what we know. A new weapon in the battle against high cholesterol, a powerful new pill that may be better than those widely used statins.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Good evening on a busy Thursday. President Trump tonight touting a big speech on American elections. We've got new reporting on that in a moment, and more on those deadly floods in Texas, too. But we're going to begin with the air quality emergencies now affecting at least 21 states from the Great Lakes to the Carolinas. What you see out there and what millions are breathing right now is smoke and ash from wildfires in Canada, now settling over major cities and towns from Minneapolis to right here in New York, which has some of the worst air in the world right now. Health officials say coughing and shortness of breath is a risk for everyone outside, and for those with chronic conditions, the risks get even more severe. Our Tom Hansen is out in it for us across the East River from Manhattan over in Brooklyn. Tom, good evening. How's it looking where you are?
Hey, Tony, good evening to you. Well, to your point, we have our masks with us again tonight. And just take a look at how faint the Manhattan skyline is behind me. You can barely see it. Just to give you an idea of the conditions out here, it smells like a bonfire. The city's air quality is in the unhealthy territory, prompting health officials to urge the public, mask up or stay inside. The air is heavy tonight as those Canadian wildfires cast plumes of hazardous smoke, with air quality alerts going out to roughly 100 million Americans. This morning, residents in Michigan's Upper Peninsula woke up to a blizzard of ash. And in Philadelphia, an American Airlines pilot reported these conditions to air traffic controllers.
We are starting to pick up some ash on our windshields. Has anyone else been reporting that?
Poor visibility caused flight delays in Chicago, too.
It's almost like smoking cigarettes all day without even having to go get Newports.
Air quality experts say exposure to the smog increases the likelihood of asthma attacks, strokes, and heart attacks for everyone.
You want to minimize your exposures when air pollution is bad. So if you are healthy and active, this is not the time you want to be exercising outdoors.
Wildfire smoke is being lifted high into the atmosphere, where the jet stream is carrying it from Canada across the Great Lakes, Midwest, and toward the I-95 corridor. Jonah Kaplan is in Minnesota, one of the states with the worst air quality. He found most people there are heeding the advice to stay indoors.
It's a Thursday afternoon in mid-July, 90 degrees out here on Lake Minnetonka. It is eerily quiet. One boat captain calling the situation apocalyptic.
It really affects what people do outside. I mean, when they're told to stay inside, indoors, not do any strenuous activity, the lake, especially Lake Minnetonka, is a place that people want to be in the summer when it's 90 degrees out. And there's nobody out here right now.
And Tony, back here in New York City, the smoke is expected to stick around through tonight. Later tomorrow morning, we should start to see conditions improve. However, the smoke is expected to return on Saturday, just in time for the World Cup final, Tony.
We'll keep monitoring it, Tom. Thank you very much. We turn to Texas now, where days of rain and heavy flooding has killed at least 2 people, and local officials are warning others to seek higher ground immediately. A, quote, large and deadly flood wave is barreling down the Guadalupe River, according to forecasters. That's the very same river that took so many lives last summer at Camp Mystic. Our Jason Allen is out there on the river himself in the hard-hit city of Kerrville. Jason, good evening.
Tony, good evening. The rain has stopped here for now, thankfully, but that's letting us get a full view of the damage that this flood left behind. There are crews out here that are clearing debris off this bridge. It was entirely underwater. In fact, the water so high over it, a barge went over the bridge, carrying downstream until it hit a higher bridge.
More than 2 feet of rain in 4 days once again prompted a flash flood emergency in the Texas Hill Country. Rescue workers pulled Robert Shelton and his family from their attic, the highest point they could reach, as their home in Kerrville filled with water.
The water got all the way up to within a foot of the attic. I was scared the house was going to break apart.
There have been more than 230 water rescues.
To make everyone on this channel aware, Kerr County does have multiple rescues happening.
South of the Hill Country in Uvalde, helicopters hovered while rescuers pulled this young girl, her family, and 2 dogs to safety, and carried this child wearing a mask, snorkel, and life jacket to a boat. In Ingram, Texas, flood alarms installed after last year's deadly flash floods started blaring as the river reached them.
In that video, you can see the cab of this truck, and that's all you could see above the water. And that is one of the alarms that was going off.
Joe Swan is with River Sentry, which started building the alarms last summer.
A couple of the people came over. They started thanking me. They're like, the flood towers, they woke us up. They got us out of there.
We were with Angie Navarez as she came back to her RV parked on a bluff above the river.
Looks like I have electricity.
Firefighters pounded on her door in the middle of the night, waking her up to evacuate.
It doesn't seem like there's been as many deaths as there were last year.
Why do you think that is?
I think we were more prepared in a way.
Several people we talked to today had that same answer. They were following the weather reports closely throughout the week. They were paying attention when the alerts came on their phone. And despite all of this damage and destruction, Tony, at least here in Kerrville, there is no one missing tonight.
That's good news. Jason, thank you very much. Let's get the latest now on the smoke, the floods, and more from meteorologist Rob Marciano. Rob, good evening. Any relief?
Well, from the rain, yes, eventually. From the smoke, yes, for some. The question is for how long. So let's get to it. We've got more states now that are under air quality alerts than were last night, 21. So a lot of these are really dangerous, including New York and Detroit and Chicago. They're up and over 300 on the AQI. As far as what the smoke is going to do, our computer models are showing the most dense stuff. That's the purple and the red. You can see overnight tonight through tomorrow, it does dip down to the south. So D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, back through Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit. You're in the thick stuff during the day tomorrow. Chicago kind of comes out of it, and then it shifts back up towards the north and through Pennsylvania and upstate New York during the day on Saturday. We don't want to forget what's happening across parts of Texas, where we have the flash flood watches that remain up through tomorrow and the flash flood warnings, including a new flash flood emergency for the Blanco River there just to the west of Austin. That's in effect for the next several hours. And the rainfall, additional rainfall, will not be as bad as what we've seen the past couple of days, but still potentially an additional 2 to 3, maybe as much as 5 inches of rainfall from Phoenix all the way back through western parts of Texas through tomorrow afternoon. So slow improvement, hopefully noticeable for some. Tony?
Rob, thank you. News tonight on that parasite sickening people across 34 states. The likely source is Taylor Farms, according to federal health officials. That's a California food supplier that provides lettuce grown in Mexico to Taco Bell restaurants. Here's CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassman.
Health investigators may have finally solved the mystery of why so many people have fallen so ill eating contaminated lettuce. Federal officials have now linked the outbreak of a parasite called Cyclospora to a single supplier of iceberg lettuce from Mexico, Taylor Farms. The company supplies produce to numerous grocery stores and fast food restaurants, including Taco Bell. Thousands of cases have been reported in 34 states, the majority in Michigan, the vast majority over the last few weeks. The disease causes severe gastrointestinal illness. While no one has died, more than 100 people have been hospitalized. Taco Bell had already, as a precaution, removed salad ingredients from some of its restaurants. One Michigan health official told CBS News that normally it would see 40 cases of cyclopsoriasis, but in this outbreak, they have handled more than 4,000 cases. We reached out to Taylor Farms. So far, no response. But this is the first real sign of tracking down what has worried and sickened so many consumers. Tony?
All right, Mark, we'll stay on it. Thank you. 15 months now after a sightseeing helicopter broke up in midair and crashed in New York City, investigators today revealed what they believe brought down the chopper, killing the pilot and a family of 5. Here's senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Dramatic video captured the sightseeing helicopter as it came apart midair over New York's Hudson River last April. On board were a family of 5, Spanish tourists visiting Manhattan, and the pilot. There were no survivors.
I heard this really loud noise. I'm like, what's going on? Because it felt like a crash.
Just what caused that noise and the helicopter to crash was a mystery. But newly released documents from the National Transportation Safety Board indicate the helicopter may have flown into a flock of geese. A forensic review and DNA testing by the Smithsonian indicates a mixed species flock of Brant and Canada geese impacted the rotor blades and the horizontal stabilizer, which is located towards the tail of the helicopter.
That would be like taking a bowling ball and throwing it into the engine.
Captain Laura Einsettler is an airline pilot.
Given what we know about the damage to the horizontal stabilizer, to the main rotor, how difficult would it be to try to keep this helicopter in the air?
It would be nearly impossible. Obviously, as helicopter pilots, they're well trained and experienced in emergency situations. And in this case, it was just too much damage that was catastrophic.
In 2009, a flock of Canadian geese took out the engines of U.S. Airways Flight 1549, forcing the pilots to make an emergency landing that became known as the Miracle on the Hudson.
The tour operator was grounded by the FAA and has since gone out of business, according to the NTSB. Relatives of the family killed are now suing the owner of that company. Since 2001, the NTSB has investigated 24 helicopter crashes involving a bird strike. 3 were fatal, Tony.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. We know more tonight about the boat that brought Nolan Wells and his friends out to Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi this 4th of July, a trip that turned out to be the last that Wells would ever take alive. CBS News has obtained a recording of an emergency call made from the boat when it left the island around 4:30 p.m. without Wells, according to friends. The 23-foot boat had 7 people on board, according to the caller, who said the boat was taking on water and sinking.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come?
GPS records show the boat did make it back safely to the mainland that evening. Wells's body, meanwhile, was found 2 days later. To politics tonight, and a primetime speech from President Trump, which he promised would include a big announcement tied to American election security. Significant numbers of Republicans have lost faith in our elections, in part, of course, because of the president's own unproven claims. Senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe has more now on what the president had to say.
Tonight, President Trump, for the first time, publicly revealed new details from declassified intelligence documents about Chinese meddling in the U.S. elections.
The People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
The White House released a stack of heavily redacted documents showing China accessed American voter rolls. None of the information was ever shared with President Trump during his regular intelligence briefings during his first term.
For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections.
The president's also pushing for passage of a voting regulations bill that would establish national voter ID and proof of citizenship standards. There's no evidence any foreign entity has ever successfully directly interfered in an American election.
Our system is incredibly secure. You can't just attack one national entity. You would have to attack 10,000 entities in order to interfere with our elections. It would be discovered.
But the president's pressuring states, which oversee elections, to do more. FEMA won't provide states certain grants in full unless they use a new federal system verifying voter citizenship and accept only hand-marked paper ballots. And after a Trump executive order, the U.S. Postal Service is planning to only deliver mail-in ballots to people on federally approved lists of voters whose citizenship is verified. Trump's primetime focus has fellow Republicans urging him to talk instead about pressing concerns with the economy and war with Iran.
I don't know why we're still talking about the 2020 election on either side of the aisle.
And Democrats are increasingly concerned tonight is just about this November.
He's laying the groundwork for a potential challenge to the result. Another bad faith challenge.
Hey, Ed, one person we're told not at the White House tonight, the president's former teleprompter operator. What's the story on this?
Yeah, Tony, a longtime aide to the president, Gabriel Perez, allegedly placed more than $100,000 in bets on the website Kalshi related to the president's State of the Union address and other speeches. Among other things, Perez has operated the president's teleprompter. Kalshi says he's His trading activity raised suspicions because it didn't track typical buying and selling patterns on the site. Sources say Perez is cooperating with an ongoing federal investigation. The White House today says he's now on unpaid leave, and the president considers the situation deeply unfortunate. Tony?
Very interesting. Sign of the times. Ed, thank you. Still ahead on the broadcast, a new pill that can drastically reduce cholesterol, how it works differently than those popular statins. The FDA has approved a new daily cholesterol pill that works in a different way from those popular statins and apparently may be able to deliver better results, at least for some people. For details, we have Dr. Corey Bradley, a cardiologist at Columbia University's Irving Medical Center right here in New York. Dr. Bradley, thank you for being here. So the drug is called Lipfendra. What do we know about it?
So Lipfendra, or enlicitide, its generic name, is a once-daily pill that's of the class PCSK9 inhibitors. We've had other drugs in this class, but this is new because it's the first of its kind, and that's a daily oral medication.
How is it different from statins?
So statins work in the liver by preventing our body from making cholesterol. That allows our liver then to reabsorb more cholesterol out of our bloodstream. This drug works a little bit differently by binding this protein called PCSK9, and we know that it's been a very effective way to lower LDL cholesterol for a lot of patients so far who've received the injectable medications.
So is the biggest difference here and the selling point just now it's a pill, it used to be a needle?
Exactly. And that's helpful for some patients who are either scared of needles or for whatever reason don't like the idea of injecting themselves, and also hopefully with cost. I think that having an oral option will probably be cheaper in the long run than the cost of the injectables, which has been prohibitive for some patients.
Dr. Bradley, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Up next, what's happening to those Blue Angel crews who flew so low over a Florida beach? A massive water main buried more than a century ago under the famed Sunset Strip burst overnight, creating a huge sinkhole in West Hollywood and a new river down the hill there. Buses looked more like duck boats for a little while, and the mayor of West Hollywood said the pre-dawn flood left a lot of people in a state of shock. So far, though, damage but no injuries. When a car on a highway in South Lake, Texas started to smoke last month, a police officer pulled the man over, and just moments later, smoke became flames. The cop tried to free the man inside, but the door handle snapped off, leaving just one option. Gloves on, hands on, the officer ripped out the window and pulled the man to safety. We told you yesterday about how the Navy's Blue Angels buzzed Pensacola Beach so close they rattled some fans, or as the Navy put it, quote, affected civilian chairs and umbrellas. At first, team leaders promised a safety review, as they put it, admitting it was a lower than normal pass. But on social media today, the acting Secretary of the Navy reversed all of that, writing, quote, no reprimands, no firings, no problem. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. For all of us here at CBS News, thank you so much for watching. And President Trump's primetime speech will stream on CBS News 24/7, 9 p.m. Eastern. Good night.